did?
Yeah, me and Joey's was audio only because I went to look for I switched backpacks and I never grabbed my GoPro.
Yeah.
So don't stare at the camera, Christina. All right, you ready?
Yep.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the JG3 podcast. This week's guest, Miss CR Juices herself, Christina Rodriguez. What's up?
What's up, Jay?
She's going to talk very quietly into the
I'll
microphone.
try to be better. This is very uncomfortable for me.
Talking is uncomfortable for Christina. I'm going to call bullshit.
Recording. No, I love to talk, but recording, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, well, eventually you're going to forget the fucking microphones are in
Yeah.
front of you and we're going to have some fun. But I always like to start at the beginning when I'm dealing with people. And we're going through the background. The funny thing is, the beginning with me and you is actually not the beginning of you and JG3. You were a 9 a.m.er with Debbie for
Probably almost a year.
I don't think I ever met you because you had the hand surgery or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hand surgery? So
Yeah.
why don't you talk about how you got started at JG3, why 9 a.m. And how because you and Debbie got a great bond.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird having the podcast with you and not Debbie.
Yeah, my girl
Debbie
needs to be here.
But Debbie doesn't talk very much. So, but anyway, why don't you walk us through your first, like what caused you to come to JG3, and then kind of the beginning of the relationship that you and Debbie got that caused you to kind of solidify your spot at JG3.
Well, I think it's been 3 years now since I've been a member of JG3. And it all started, I never even knew you guys existed, didn't know you guys were here. As far as fitness wise, I kind of just would run on my own, go to the park, run around there for a little bit, do a little bit of workouts at home. I'd go to the Y every once in a while, but anything consistent.
Nothing structured, yeah.
Somebody I knew invited me here.
Yeah, we're gonna not get into that. Yeah.
Or had said that they'd been going here or whatever, and had suggested I come check it out. And because she started like walking with me and doing some running at the park with me. Talked about this place, so I came and checked it out one morning, and Debbie was the instructor, and I liked it. I loved just how the atmosphere, the energy that was here, how the workouts were programmed already for you. Everybody was at their own level, so I didn't really feel intimidated. You know, you could see everybody at their own levels, at their own pace.
Yep.
So even though they say, you know, lots of people when they walk in these doors, they're very intimidated, I was very intrigued and loved the energy of it.
I think part of that intimidation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is you walk in, you have this expectation of what a gym should look like, and you walk in and it's just a big empty building essentially with equipment all around the outsides, but it's not like when you walk into a Anytime Fitness, a Conifex, Judy's Gym, Iron Core, and there's all these machines. You're like, so what do we do?
Yeah. Well, and that was what really, I think, caught me was, you know, your body is the machine.
Yep.
And I loved that difference, you know, because you walk into these, you don't know what the first thing to do with some of those machines and if you're doing it right. And I know lots of people talk about the price of it, you know, oh, it's expensive, but you know, you're pretty much getting that, and I loved that personal trainer that I got, and that was, you know, going back to my connection with Debbie, you know, she, I loved her straightforwardness. She just always had fun with class, and I think really what my bond started with her was the old school music.
Yeah,
she
the
would play in her 9 a.m. She's my homegirl, and she really reminded me, brought me back to, I'm originally from Michigan, kind of brought me back to that kind of, I guess, friendship that I used to have there with others. And
I think that's the beautiful thing about the gym. One is you get that, you talk about the price. Me and Debbie argue over this all the time. I would charge about 4 times as much as we're charging because I'm like, hey, this is my time. It's not worth it. But we come to compromises, and that's kind of how we come up with that. But a second thing you touched on that I really want to dive into is the power of music. Like, it's no secret I got a huge half sleeve of Blink-182 stuff, but music is so powerful in the fact that it can bridge that gap. So even though you guys don't know each other, you catch yourself bouncing to it, and all of a sudden you make eye contact. You're like, you like this shit? I feel this shit. Yeah, we're on the same team, and that's one of the few things that this gym does versus other gyms I've been to. And me and Joey Lejeune talked about it this week on the podcast. You know, when I'm on the road, it's weird. I have my AirPods in, I'm doing the workout, I'm kind of jamming to myself, but everybody else doesn't know what the fuck I'm jamming to.
Right.
Here we have it playing over the loudspeaker, and you kind of can tell when the whole gym's feeling that vibe. And there's times as a coach, I've done it with several athletes where I'm just like, all right, they're vibing on this style of music, I'm going to just stick with that.
Sure.
Instead of like some people vibe on hardcore rock or alternative or fast beat, heavy guitar stuff. Some people are like, the first Justin Timberlake song comes on, I'm like, all right, we're gonna have a Timberlake beat, we're in all this kind of class.
Yeah.
And that's a unique bond that you get, and that helps those early relationships. You know, when you talk about you come in and you got that intimidation, and then you see Debbie running around acting like she's carpool karaoke and Ice Ice Baby or some shit, and instantly you're like, oh, it's just a person.
It's actually Ice Ice Debbie.
Yeah, Ice Ice Debbie. But, it ends up being just, that's another person. And it takes your guard down because you're like, oh, that's not some expert. Don't get me wrong, Debbie's a highly qualified trainer, has been doing this for 5 years now. And that's a huge problem in the fitness industry is you got quote unquote experts that don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Sure.
This company or that company or Advocare or whoever tells them, oh my God, you should do this and you can run a free boot camp and you can be an expert. No, there are actual experts. Like, I've been studying fitness my entire life. I didn't realize I was studying it back then. I was an athlete, but I've done cross training since I was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and then I added certifications on top of it, and I'm now working on my third different certification from a third different company. And I always shy away from it. It doesn't matter if it's food, if it's sneakers, if it's whatever. I always shy away from the person that goes all in with one company because I'm like, you're just a pawn for that one company.
Right.
I like to go, all right, ACE. American Council on Exercise. I love my personal training and stuff, but I'm like, you kind of missed the boat on this. CrossFit, I loved that weekend, and I thought they did a real good job with the hands-on, but their test was a fucking joke. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, you're just trying to brainwash people into thinking your way, and you're trying to contradict this guy. So now you take the goods from the best parts of each, and you become your own entity and your own brain, and then you factor in, you know, athlete my entire life, and I've studied with several other strength and conditioning coaches. I travel around the world for work, and I get to go to all these top coaches, and I pick their brains, and I go, all right, now we're just gonna put all that shit in the blender, and we're like, boom, that's JG3 Fitness. Right? So I think, it makes you a person just to hear that music, but then it kind of takes away that expertise. Like, nobody wants to hear me talk about, like, nerd out on how much I love fitness. Like, nobody wants to sit there when I'm actually programming and going like, look like a mad scientist, as Debbie says, where I'm going, oh, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and I wanna be under this time and that, and then she's like, you're a fucking dork. And I'm like, babe, this is interesting, and she's like, you just spent 20 minutes talking about a workout that we haven't even done yet. And then the funny thing is, we'll go home and she's like, you hit that dead on the nose. You told me exactly how almost everybody was going to do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's the expertise. Because if you're going into a workout or you're programming a workout and you don't know how your athletes are going to respond, you're a shitty fucking coach.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So you come in, you get 90s gangster rap music, you and Debbie become homegirls. I could be getting my timeline off here, but you had some issues with it. Was your hand or something? You had a bunch of allergy issues or something like that?
It was actually pretty much my time that I started at JG3 that I started having those issues. So I was diagnosed. I have an autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
I was diagnosed. Well, I've always had skin psoriasis. Pretty much around my 20s, after I had my kids, is when I started developing it. At that time, I was just told it was hereditary. You know, topical creams constantly all my life. But then I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis about the time I started coming here. So they wanted to put me on the Humira injections, and I refused because those pretty much shut down your liver, suppress your immune system, leaving you susceptible to everything else. So when I left the doctor's office that day, I came home, and that's where I had said, I want to research a natural way to try to heal myself versus going on medication for the rest of my life. At that time as well, I had the surgery because I couldn't even like close my hand anymore. I was losing my grip on things. It was part of the psoriatic arthritis. There was some fluid or something going through my hand, so they went in and removed that. But then I changed my diet, so it all led to healing my gut. I kind of researched what the psoriatic arthritis was. It was my immune system now attacking the joints in my body instead of just my skin.
It's interesting you say that because I've kind of shared part of the story with Kyle one day on the road to Ironman back when it was that version of the podcast. But I was stuck in the medical system for a long time, and there's some really good doctors and there's some really shit doctors. And the shit doctors just want to prescribe you stuff. And I'm not saying that's wrong at certain times. Yeah, when you have a fucking sinus infection, they should give you a Z-Pack, get over it, and move on. But when you first show up and their first thought is, well, let me write you a script, that scares me. And I had a really good doctor that was actually not even a doctor yet, it was a student doctor, tell me after my 8th surgical injection on my neck and I still had pain and I was at a pain clinic, she goes, I don't remember, she might have even said it like this, but in my head, this is how I remember it, so don't say a doctor actually said this, but in my head she said, look at your fucking diet, dumbass. Like, you're eating double quarter pounder with cheese, supersized with a fucking 12-pack of Pepsi a day. Of course you're gonna fucking feel like shit, you moron. And I'm like, I ain't fucking big, who gives a shit? And that was the first epiphany that, hey, just because you're not quote unquote fat does not mean you're fucking healthy.
Exactly, yeah. And, well, and that was the thing, you know, I thought I ate the standard American diet, as we call it, just like everybody else. You know, I wasn't overweight. I didn't, you know, I'm thinking, why is my body reacting this way? But after just reading articles and researching, it's just all that triggers inflammation in the body. So I had to heal my gut, and that's when I discovered juicing. Was a big part of it. And juicing kind of became my safe food because I had to eliminate so much out of my diet at the time.
Let me ask you this, when you, not trying to jump in, but to kind of slow it down, how did you determine you had to eliminate so much? Like, was it research? Did you use a dietitian? Did you go to someone? Did a doctor tell you? Like, how did you said it kind of attacked your joints and all. Did you just do, when did you come to that conclusion, and how did
when
you
I started researching this autoimmune disorder, it led me to 2 women that started this autoimmune protocol diet. And so on their...
Is this on Facebook?
Yeah,
or?
I Googled it first, you know, Dr. Google, as they say. Came across their website, and on there they share their testimonies of what they went through with autoimmune disorders and what worked for them, and they came up with all these inflammation triggers as far as food-wise. So they had like charts available.
Do you remember what the big trigger? I'm sure gluten or
gluten.
It's not necessarily
dairy.
gluten. Gluten gets a bad name because people forget. Most gluten is more like what they're saying is processed fucking foods.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't go and get a tub of gluten.
No, yeah,
but it's something they use to mold all the processed shit
all the
together.
preservatives and everything that they put. Yeah, and that's the thing. The elimination. It's not. You know, lots of people want to say it's the meat. It's not just meat. So it's not just about, you know, being vegan. It's all the processed foods. So there was a chart of what inflammation, triggers were. So I followed that closely. You know, and then you have to reintroduce slowly. So you eliminate that for 30 days, then slowly reintroduce something at a time. So even though tomatoes, it's, you know,
are perfectly fine.
Great for you, but for me personally, I can't eat tomatoes because it causes an autoimmune response in my system. So it would cause my arthritis to flare up.
Okay.
I've had issues, but I only discovered that by reintroducing, because it's a nightshade vegetable. So there's whole other things, but that's where it kind of led me on that path to healing my gut, was following their autoimmune protein diet.
I don't remember what the guy had, but have you ever seen that documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead?
Yes.
That was one of the first I watched when that lady essentially said, watch what the fuck we're putting in your diet. I watched a documentary called Food Matters, and then Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And I remember Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead a little bit more just because he went on like a 30-day juice cleanse and eliminated everything but these, and then had to slowly introduce, and it sounds like something similar to it, maybe not the exact same, but he talked about the need of slowly reintroduction. So for him, it's like, all right, he went from juicing to, all right, this week I'm going to bring back dairy to see if I have a bad response. And that was a big trigger for him, was dairy.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, well, dairy's bad. So then he would go back a week to what his last known working diet was. And he would keep slowly adding this stuff until he eventually went, all right, this is what I can eat.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is a lot of times we're looking for, in America, we're looking for the quick fix, right? We're looking for, all right, someone fucking tell me what I can eat. And the problem is, no two people are the same.
Exactly.
Right? So
that's the biggest
you have to, you follow this autoimmune diet that these guys showed you, but you still have to test and retest and constantly testing what works for Christina.
Right.
And then, as I'm sure you run into when people come and ask you, now you gotta learn to tell them, well, this is what worked for me, but everybody's different makeup, so you got to test.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just had a lady come into the juice bar the other day, and she's a dietitian, and she's starting something here on Fremont, but her biggest thing is, I would never recommend a juice fast. But and my thing is, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a professional, I'm not a dietitian. However, I can only share my experience and what worked for me. And a juice fast worked for me. It literally started reversing my symptoms. My skin cleared up, my hand got better. The doctor said eventually by now I'd be crippled, like the arthritis would take over my body. So I can see what has only worked for me, and I can only share those experiences with others. But you're right, people, want that quick fix, and they don't want to do the work. Even today, if I went back to eating all those trigger foods, I'm going to end up back in the same boat. So just because I may be fine today doesn't mean I won't be like that next month if I continue to go back.
100%. And it's what happens, then we're going to get back into your journey here where you start slowly introducing all that. But I just finished a book by Jocko Willink called Discipline Equals Freedom. It was one of those books that Trey had recommended to me a while back. And he talks about when you're basically, we as Americans, or we as a collective society, I don't mean to say just Americans, as a collective society, we think this 80-20 rule works, right? Like if I'm good 80% of the time, 20% of the time, I can do whatever I want. Well, in reality, that 80-20 turns into 70-30, which turns to 60-40, which turns into 50-50, which turns into fuck it, right?
Right.
And his point is, if you go long enough, if you go 99% discipline, eventually all that shit, you won't even start craving it anymore. You'll start going, holy shit, a Greek yogurt tastes like fucking dessert.
Right.
A milkshake tastes fucking so amazing, but your stomach's super fucked up after eating it, so you don't want to do it anymore. And I'm not advocating that that's the right way, but when you talk about things like Sober October and things like that, it's resetting your mind to go, I can fucking do it, I just don't want to, right? And that's the big trigger. And one of the most powerful things Joey said last week, because he was close enough to get the surgery much before he ever hired me. And I asked what was the difference, and he said, I was ready. Mentally, I was finally ready to do it. So jump back in, you had started eliminating stuff. Did you go straight to you went straight to a juice fast and then started adding stuff back?
No, the elimination came first, so that's when I just started eliminating certain things in my diet.
So what was your diet like that elimination?
It was very limited, and that's why when I discovered juicing, because it just came to the point where it's like I didn't even know what to eat anymore.
Well, and I'm sure when you get told, or when you came to the conclusion through research that you needed to do all this elimination, the standard response is, all right, I'm gonna throw all this shit away, but I don't have a plan. So now you're like, fuck, I know I can eat these 3 things, and 4 days later you're like, I fucking hate this shit now.
Well, and that's
Dr. Google,
where,
what else can I eat?
well, that's where juicing became important, because I knew I was safe and it would keep me full, and I was getting my nutrients that I needed. Despite me being able to eat, it's like that I knew it, like I said, it became my safe haven. Like I knew I was feeding my body the nutrition that it needed when I didn't know really what I could eat at that point. And that's when I made the decision I watched that documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and went on the juice fast myself. And I made it 15 days doing just the juicing.
Did you have a plan for taking the chance while she's coughing to fill the void there? That's called podcasting, hosting 101. Now that I've had, I totally lost my train. No. Did you have a set time frame when you went into the fast? You knew you were going to go 15 days, or is that just when you felt like you had your shit under control and you could start introducing stuff?
I didn't put a time frame on it. Okay. I wanted to see how long I could go. The 15 days, so my symptoms started to improve after probably the first week. The first 3 days were hell. Caffeine alone, like I drink 1 cup a day, and just detoxing off that 1 cup of coffee was horrible.
Did you drink your coffee black, or were you adding sugar and other?
I added creamer.
Yeah, so see, that was just as bad with detox. Detox is from not just caffeine, but the sugar as well.
Right. So that was pretty horrible. But once I got through that, it wasn't that bad. I just missed the desire to chew. You know, you miss that socialization that you have with food. Lots of people are emotional eaters, and so you fall, kind of back into that. But I missed that desire. But I felt like my system was starting to reset itself, that I could slowly start reintroducing food again. And so I did. So it's not like I got off my fast and, started eating
cheeseburgers,
whatever. Like I slowly started just with salads and fruits and vegetables before I even introduced any meat back into my diet. Even now today, I only eat chicken most of the time, and beef. Pork I eliminated years ago, so I don't really do pork.
Do you eat fish or sushi?
No, I'm just never a big fish. So I do lots of chia seeds, because that's how I get my omega-3s.
Oh, very good. I wasn't even going there. It was just that was the just I swear, man, you got sushi before, but I think I ate sushi and you didn't.
I tried it because you had it, yes. So that was the first time I ever tried it.
Remember,
it probably would never be my main course, but I'm all for trying something new.
Well, that's awesome. So you start introducing stuff. When did you? The only reason I remember the hand thing is Debbie had posted it to our JG3 page, and that just posted as a memory not too long ago.
It was probably it was probably 2.5 years ago. It was 2 years ago for sure.
Yeah, it popped up as one of our memories here recently. So you recover from the hand thing, you start getting reversing symptoms, you add back foods, you were exercising. Is this about the time I finally met you, or is this, I met you at this point, but we weren't close. It was like in passing, where occasionally I stop in at 9 a.m. when I'm leaving for a business trip or shit like that, and I would occasionally run around high-five everybody.
I think it wasn't until I started doing the juicing here for everybody.
That's the first thing I remember.
That I really started.
It wasn't even everybody. It was me and Debbie. Debbie started asking you to do it for her. And one day she came home and she was carrying this fucking mason jar, who knows what. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And she's like, oh, Mr. Health Nut doesn't know what the fuck a juice is. I'm like, that looks like someone mixed blood and oil in a fucking thing. And she's like, it's beets. I'm like, what? who the fuck drinks beets?
Yeah.
So then I tried it and I was like, oh, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah, because I was actually bringing her some of what I would make myself.
Yeah, and we had, back then, I remember the first real big interaction we had, I ended up posting, Debbie ordered me one of your green drinks. I don't even think you had a fucking name for it yet.
No.
And I put on Instagram drinking my fucking Hawk juice or some shit like that. And then you ended up naming it the Hawk.
Yeah. Or complaining because all the juices were labeled Debbie.
Yes,
and not Jay.
that used to piss me off. But so you start making juices for Debbie and I. People naturally, when we're down here, start asking us what the hell we're drinking.
Yeah.
Hold on one second, please. Skylar, you gotta get out of here.
No.
Take the dog with you, please.
She said I want to stay.
No.
Still knows like I want
Anyway,
to stay.
so people start asking us what we're drinking while we're at the gym here, and how did that turn into you making everybody juices? Like, do you remember who the first person besides us was?
It was Mary.
Mary Power, that's right. Stella is saying hello, knocking shit over. Lex is taking the dog. This is real life, fucking people.
I believe it was Mary Bauer was the next one that came, and she had said, I absolutely love juicing, but I don't got the time or the patience for all the cleanup and the time it takes to make it. Would you be willing to make it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, at that time, I was a little like worried because you just don't know. It's unpasteurized stuff, so you don't want to get anybody sick, and you don't know how. So I was a little nervous, but she was like, oh, I've done it before. I know what it's going to do to my system. I love it. Please do it for me. So she's a doctor. Yeah.
So she's like,
And at that time, I didn't know she was a doctor.
Oh, you didn't know she was a doctor?
No, I didn't at that time. I later found out, but so it was great. So she was the next one, and then I think.
It got to a point where I know I would get pissed off because one of our Killcliff fridges that we
Yeah,
got
was
back here,
full of
this was before we
juices.
had the big ones, and I'm like, babe, where the fuck do you want me to put our Killcliff and our shit? Like, our entire fucking fridge is full of juice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they're all level Debbie, not Jay.
But I do want to point out that I think it says a lot about what your members, how much they look up to your guys' advice and what you guys do, because you and Debbie have, from what I've seen in the three, you guys are very much trendsetters too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your members are looking at constantly what you're drinking, what you're doing, what you're eating, and they follow that. So you guys definitely lead by example, which is
Well, I'm kind of,
great.
and I don't know if this is a good thing, bad thing. I'm very vocal when I believe in something, and I'm also very vocal when I don't. But when we first started juicing, it was one of those, I wouldn't have been caught dead drinking a fucking vegetable and all this other stuff. I'm like, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I'm fucking vegan for 6 months and never drank a fucking juice.
That's right, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm very experimental with my neck issues. I have lots of flare-ups, and I have to constantly be testing and checking other things. And I don't remember who I had a conversation with. One of the macho guys were doing curls or something at the gym one day, and I followed up with drinking a beet juice, and he's like, "What the fuck kind of shit is that? You need protein." I'm like, dude, I don't give a fuck what I need. If this makes me feel as good as it has been, I'll drink it every fucking day, and I don't care what your bitch ass says. The next day, that person's like, "Well, I want to try that," And it was very cool to see how organically that went. It started with you making them for Debbie. Then I'm like, well, she's talking about how good she feels. I'm always looking to feel better. I'm gonna try it. Now, obviously, my nutrition needs, being a 190 to 195 pound man, versus Debbie's, are much different. So she's taking them as meals, and I'm like, no, this is my in-between snack. Like, I had that lull at, say, 10, 11 o'clock a.m. 11's probably too late, but 9:30, 10 o'clock, I'm going, man, I ain't gonna make it to lunch.
Yeah.
That's where I drink my Hawk juice or whatever juice I was drinking at the time. And then it would cure that anger of, I have to wait until noon to eat something else. So it kind of just organically grew until the point where I don't even think, we got to a point where, like I said, I was bitching that I'm like, look, I get that we're trying to be nice to Christina and our members and whatnot, but I still have to fucking put my Kill Cliff somewhere and all the shit that I also drink, which, you know, by the way, Kill Cliff, that's my favorite drink. Get it at JG3 Fitness. But yeah, we just got to a point, and I don't remember how or if you were already looking for a spot at that point, but I was like, hey, we got to do something here. And it never got to a point where we actually had a discussion like, hey, you can't have all your shit here. I think I said you need to bring your fridge or something down.
Yeah.
We need to figure something out. And that's when you told us you're moving into your first location.
Yeah, and you guys had really been encouragers in that, and making me feel, I guess, that this was something that was legit and it could be something, and that I should expand it. So you allowed me to do the taste testing here, and
that's right, we did.
Kind of got feedback from a lot of the members that you had here, and we had started talking to a business in the area that had a commercial kitchen for rent, and that's kind of everything just fell into place. Yeah, and it was January of 18 that we opened over there, so we're going on almost 2 years in business now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then we followed up. I remember we were big supporters. We still kept going there, and then Mission 24, I reached out to you and I was like, look, I'm known for my stupid fucking ideas, and I'm going to do this fundraiser. It was supposed to just be me and one other person. That person flaked out, and we're not getting into all that, but it turned into our coaching staff was going to do 24 hours of working out. And I said, in saying that, I don't want to feel like shit. So I don't think I even asked. I think I told you, you're in charge. Make sure I don't feel like hell after this. I'll eat or drink whatever you tell me. You're just in charge. And your eyes got like this big, like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I'm like, I'm just saying you can use it as a marketing tool if you want, however you want, but I need you to handle this. And that's when I became a big believer in, and pretty much every big event I've done since then, you've been the primary person that's fueled it, so to speak. And that day it was, that we kind of always knew each other, but that's when I stopped thinking you're still Debbie's homegirl, but that was the first time where it became like, me and you were also a team, not just you and Debbie.
Right.
That day, you had some guts a couple times during that day where I was not the nicest person. I mean, I feel like looking back, and obviously I'm going to be very kind to myself, but I felt like for the amount of effort I put into that fundraiser and did 24 workouts, I thought I was pretty fucking happy the whole time. I did have a couple of points where I was not so happy, and it was usually targeting you. But compared to most of the other people in that room who are, unfortunately, none of them are here anymore, I felt like I was the one that recovered the best and had the best attitude the whole time because of the fuel I was putting in. They were eating potato chips and other bullshit, and I'm like, I'm gonna, whatever bullshit Christina hands me, I'm gonna fucking drink it or eat it. And I remember there's 2 times that I remember. I was sitting there with oatmeal at one point, and I was just sitting there staring at it, and I was like, I think Tivo or Kyle were standing next to me. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know if I can eat this. And you're like, eat it. And I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to eat it. And you're like, eat it. And I'm like, I don't want to eat it. And you looked at me and you said, you're not even fucking sweating. If you don't eat it, you're going to get hurt. And I'm like, fine. And I like fucking take 6 bites and almost throw up, but I ate it. That was one time, and the other time, the time that I had to actually walk away was when you woke me up. I had dozed off for like 2 minutes, and you like, I don't know how you even woke me up, and you were like, drink this, and I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? And I'm like, I went to say something, I'm like, walk away, she's been good to you all day. But at that moment, I think everybody in the room's like, oh, Jay's about to blow his fucking gasket. But I just got up and I drank and I walked away, and I was like, okay, so.
Yeah, that was definitely the first time you and I had bonded and realized, okay, we can do these things together.
Yeah, obviously those were the 2 bad times, but I remember like you just looking at me going, I didn't realize you were such a fucking goofball. Like, I was dancing and doing
Yeah.
stupid stuff, and you're like, I didn't realize you were as laid back and goofy as you, because, you know, obviously some people see me when I'm in an intense coaching motion
Right.
or attitude where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to convey a message and I'm trying to help somebody, so I'm a lot more intense.
Yeah.
Where that was the first time you might have really seen the laid back, like, I'm just enjoying the moment
Sure.
side of things.
Yeah.
And I definitely just let loose and do whatever the hell
You
pops
did.
in my head. And then you add in fatigue and lack of sleep,
Yeah.
and you're like, we stopped caring about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was when you were the DJ. You were making. I mean, you took on. It was just as much yours and Debbie's 24-hour period as it was mine. Like, a lot of people sit there and go, oh, you know, even when we flash forward, which we're about to, and we talk about all these crazy events I've done, it's never just me, and that's why I always present it as a team thing. It's not, yes, my body physically did it, but had you not had my best interests at heart, I probably would have failed, because I was too busy doing other things to actually pay attention to my own needs. Whereas you're going, hey, dipshit, you're not sweating, drink this. Hey,
Right.
eat this. Hey, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, when's the last time you took a piss, or whatever it may be.
Right,
Things that I'm
yeah.
like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
But in your mind, you're going, hey, I gotta make sure you're passing this through and your body's not shutting down and all. And that was really cool, and I think it actually helped. After that, I think you got even more of a spurt of JG3 members going to you, because they're like, how'd you do that? And I was like,
Well, it made us as a business even feel more confident, because, you know, there's nothing like, you know, putting your product to the test, especially when it comes to athletes.
Yeah.
Because athletes are all about how much protein am I getting, and is this going to fuel my body, and
Did I have
or,
any protein
carbs,
in that?
or, you know what I mean? So you guys are all about your macros.
Mhm.
And that was the biggest challenge when CR Juices got started, was
Oh yeah, you're macro.
the athletes.
How's
and
it
what's
getting
the
my
macros?
macros,
And it was like, and our motto has always been, I don't care about the numbers behind the calories and the carbs. It's the ingredients that
Mhm.
we're serving you.
Mhm.
So all the ingredients we know are energy giving ingredients, so there should be no reason why we're not fueling your
Well, you
workout.
have an absolute assault right now on carbohydrates, and people don't realize 60% of your fucking diet should be carbohydrates, because that's how you fuel it. What they mean is, we equate carbohydrates to shitty ass processed food.
Right,
When in reality,
bread and-
when in reality,
Yeah.
your fruits, your vegetables, your salads, those are fucking carbohydrates.
Right.
You just have to eat a lot of them to fuel yourself.
Sure.
The brown rices, the quinoas, the
Mhm.
stuff that comes from the earth
Yeah.
is good.
Yes, it is.
What's not good is a fucking deep fried potato.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the shit that's bad for you. The breads and things like that. And I don't even remember, I don't think we tracked it, but I never had, unless it was in oatmeal or something like that, I didn't have any protein that 24-hour period. I mean, I didn't actually look at it, but I mean, I'm sure some of that stuff has
No, yeah, I mean,
minuscule amounts of it.
the chia seeds, the hemp, the little things I was giving you, almonds, things like that, but it was all plant protein.
Mhm.
The protein smoothies, you know.
And I remember looking at you, because our 8 o'clock workout, it was 10 p.m. It was Katie Brinley and I, and it was, I'm going to tell you why I remember this particular workout, but it was, so this is 12 hours in, and the workout was 5 rounds of 7 ring muscle ups and 21 burpees. And, it was, you know, I should be pretty fucking fatigued at this point. And I'm still hitting sets of 5 of ring muscle ups, which at my time was about 40-50% of my max set, maybe even 60% of my max set, and I'm still cranking them out for 5 rounds like it's nothing. And Katie Brinley looks at me and she's like, how are you still moving as well as you are? I said, well, I like to pride myself on being a very technical mover, and being a good coach means I understand the physics and the technique behind it. But B, I don't feel tired. It's fucking weird. I'm 12 hours in and I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I ripped my hand at one point, and I was like, okay, now I don't feel so good. And I stopped doing them because of actual but it wasn't like strength related, it wasn't fatigue related, it was my hands just ripped to hell. And I was like, this, nothing was worth it. It wasn't a pride thing, or you know, my pride wasn't there to go, oh, I still got to prove that I can do shit after this. So it was like, all right, let's wrap this bitch up, be healthy, go get some damn sleep and whatnot. But yeah, it shocked me how freaking good I felt afterwards. And that's when me and you started talking about. That's probably when I became. I don't know that I still am. I got to be up there, but that's when me and Debbie became probably your top customers, because now it's like you can tell when I'm busy because I don't see Christina.
Yeah.
When I'm not, or I'm in my normal flow.
Sorry,
even I was over at Carrie Pemberton's new house earlier today, and didn't realize Ashton lived right next door.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, Ash, money, and she's like, where you been? And I'm like, been busy. And she's like, oh, am I gonna see you tomorrow? And I'm like, yep, you can make my breakfast tomorrow, or my mid-afternoon snack or mid-morning snack.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that was when I realized how crucial, and I don't know, I don't understand the science behind it. That's something I'm studying right now, but I knew what I felt, and I felt different than I ever had. And then I don't remember what competition we had over that. I'm like, all right, I think I came to because it was away, it was out of town, I think it was a weekend, it was probably survival games, and I'm like, and it was funny because T-Bone and Kyle did it with me, and then we had a girls team, and it was like, guys, guess what? If you're doing this with me, that means it comes with CR juices, and that's when we came up with the little captain shirt that you're wearing right now.
Yep.
It's on the right side, you're not showing it, but
Sorry.
it was like the only way I do these competitions is if Christina brings my nutrition for me, and they're like, wait, we get to compete and eat whatever we eat this, and I'm like, yeah. Like, and I think Kyle looked at me at one point and goes, I'm never competing without you. This is awesome. I'm like, that's just. That's how I work. I just, once I find something that works for me, I try to stick with it and I promote it to people.
And I think that's what I told a lot of the JG3 members that would come to me about the macros when I was like, does it matter? How does it make you feel? And they're like, well, I feel great. Well, then just eat it, drink it. It doesn't matter, you know. It does. You gotta listen to your body and do, you know, what it's making you feel good. Continue to do it.
And I think the other part is people make so many fucking changes at one time. Circling all the way back to your autoimmune stuff. If you eliminate all this stuff and then you add 7 things back at one time, is it actually the exercise? Is it the diet? What actually was the trigger for you? Because if you don't know that, everything you just did doesn't matter.
Well, and it's just not about the food. And I tell a lot of our customers, even today, you know, you can eat the healthiest, but if you're still not taking care of yourself emotionally and mentally, you know, there are still stress. And I even think some of mine was. It's a lot of my immune triggers were from stress, you know. So even now, I can tell if I'm working, you know, 13 to 15-hour days, you know, from open to close, constantly, like I'm stressed out, and I can tell when my body's like, okay, you can't be doing this.
Yeah, and it's multifaceted. It's a 3-headed monster, so to speak. Is you've got your nutrition, you got your timing of your nutrition, and then you should also add in your physical. Like, are you able to actually move? And it doesn't have to be like, I know I own a gym, so this is gonna come across as you should work out. But I mean, moving means you should be able to get your 10 to 15,000 steps a day. Like, that can be your movement.
Right.
You know, but you have to be able to do those 3 things. And then on the flip side, it's your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Like, I always tell people all the time, like, I take a lot of criticism because I'm a pretty loud guy, and I've had my fair share of people come out and say shit. They're like, how do you not react? I'm like, because I don't have to fucking look at them in the mirror before I go to bed.
Right.
If you're 100% confident at staring at yourself back in the mirror before you go to bed, and then I go kiss my wife with my 2 kids, why the fuck do I care what somebody else is saying?
Right.
They think I'm an asshole? Okay.
I don't think it. Yeah.
No, guess what? I was busy as hell this week. Was not supposed to make either of my kids' football games. Made both of them. had to explain to some people that came in from out of town to see me, hey, I'm gonna be 15 minutes late. Why? And they started getting pissed. I go, because if you guys don't mind, I am a human being. I know that you guys are paying to come in and hear me speak and hear me say all this, but we're just going to dinner and my son has his championship football game. All of them went, oh, fucking go to the game.
Yeah.
You know, and then I show up and I'm expecting, I'm like, oh, apologize. Or like, did he win? How'd it go? And then we end up spending 25 minutes talking about my kid's football game.
Yeah.
But instantly, just instead of making it a negative, I just owned the shit and said, look, I'm a human being. I'm gonna go to this shit. Right. Same thing with the gym now is I was so bad early on, and a lot of people don't realize the first 3 years of business, the first year is awesome because you're going, I'm fucking killing it. Yeah. I found my calling. The second and third year fucking suck. Because you're going, oh, I have to reinvent myself. Mm-hmm. You know, and then by the time you get to the fourth and fifth year, you know, and I've been doing this 7 years now, you're like, yeah. I hope I got this down. And then you hit a spot where you kind of hit that sweet spot. Mm-hmm. But I struggled so much early on letting other people's opinions dictate. There's people I didn't even fucking care about, and it wasn't even their opinion. It was they're like, well, if you're not here, do you think you should charge a different amount? Like, if you're going to go on vacation, you can't shut down for a week because, you know, people are going to ask for a refund. I'm like, what? Like, who fucking thinks that way? Like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like most people would be understanding that. No. They're going to ask for, and you're going to get a bad name and everyone's going to quit. You actually believe that shit early on. Yeah. Now I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you know, like, if someone doesn't understand that I'm a human being and we need some time, because guess what? Same thing goes for coaching. Just like we're talking about your own health and well-being. If I don't come in clear and mentally and emotionally stable, guess what? I'm a shitty fucking coach. Mm-hmm. I'm going to come in and I'm not going to want to coach you. Right? So just as much as we talk about your side of things where you have to teach people how to be nutritious and actually take care of their bodies and all, I have to also take care of myself just like you do. Yeah. Because if someone comes in and you haven't taken care of yourself, you talk about your 13 to 15 hour days and you get snippy with a customer, now you're compromising who you are. Right. And sometimes you only get one shot to prove who you are. Mm-hmm. And trust me, I've fucked that up a lot. I've had people come in and go, oh, this is what the fuck we're doing? Yeah. You're a tattooed asshole. Right. I'm like, even keeping my immune system up, you know, I try to tell people, like, obviously, you know, when people can punch in and out, you know, they have sick days that they can call in and, oh, I'm sick, I got a cold, you know. I've been fortunate enough because I have obviously access to as many immunity shots as I want in a day or whatever. Yeah. You know, as soon as I feel that little tickle in my throat, I'm down in at least 10 immunity shots a day, and it knocks it right out. And so I have to also be the example that my product works to these people. You know, I have not obviously missed a day of work in 2 years. Yeah. You know, I haven't called and I haven't even been sick with a cold. You know what I mean? So it's a good example. You have to, you know, you have to take care of yourself. You know, my customers can't come in and I'm here all snot nose, wiping my nose because I'm sick and I'm catching everything out there. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm trying to tell them that, like, that's the result of my product, you know. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a weird thing because you definitely get some people coming in, and I get it all the damn time. Justin McDivitt showing up 10 minutes late to a workout again. But anyway, you know, you get it in the fitness industry as well as people, especially early on, coaches. And I've had the chance to mentor a lot of coaches. Some I've failed miserably with, and others I've done really good with. And the common theme with newer coaches are one of two things. And the ones I fail with, this is something I gotta get better with, is that I've had new coaches that come in and instantly are the fucking expert. They pick the one thing that they know more than anything, they browbeat it, and you're like, you sound like an asshole. Yeah. You're not that good. You're a fucking moron. You shouldn't be a coach. And you shouldn't say that to someone. Like, that's where I gotta get better at going, hey look, I know wrapping the thumbs around the bar is really important to you, but it really, in the grand scheme of things, that's a bullshit thing that CrossFit told you doesn't actually fucking matter. Right. The 99% of the population, you're fighting a battle that does not matter. Yeah. You know, and on the flip side, you get some some people that come in, they're like, oh man, how is this person gonna trust me when I'm unable to do a pull-up right now, or I'm not able to do a muscle-up? I'm like, fucking cares. I don't know how it was at your training when I got taught to do a muscle-up. The guy that was teaching it is not the one that demonstrated it. So to me, if you want to teach a muscle-up, grab one of the athletes that can do a muscle-up and walk them through it while they do it.
Right.
Well, yeah, but they won't know. They're going to go, wow, that person, that guy did exactly, or that girl did exactly what the coach said to do, and it worked.
Right.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Right? And so the balance out of those two things, like I said, I've had, and I'm one of those few, and this is again one of those bad things or good things for me, is I'm not really a hands-on, I'm going to micromanage you type person. I go, all right, you're a coach, I'm going to evaluate. If you have questions, let me know. And I kind of stand back and just kind of let them do their own thing. And I don't like the micromanaging side where you're sitting there, you're like, okay. Right off the bat, Debbie says I have a sick ability to make a snap judgment, and I've been wrong like twice. And she's like, and I predicted some shit that has gone down at our gym 5 years ago when someone first walked in, and I said, that person is eventually going to whatever. They're going to go do their own thing, and it's going to turn into a nightmare because that's not a good person.
Right.
And Debbie's like, do you remember saying that? I'm like, yes, because it fucking came true.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, but there are times you have to let people make their own mistake. And even in saying that, I kept that person around for 5 years knowing they were going to do that. Sometimes you got to let shit play out, because ultimately, again, I'm the only one who has to look at myself in the mirror. Right?
Yeah.
I can look at myself in the mirror and know half of the shit that was said is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter. Right? I know people like you that lived the whole experience with me, whether it's Mission 24, whether it's Ironman, whether it's anything.
Yeah.
I did exactly what I said I was going to do. Like, a lot of times there's all these side chatters on all that. No. If you actually listen to what I said, I did exactly what I said I was going to do.
Right.
Which brings us to Ironman. That was another fun one where I actually would tell you that was harder. The training itself was harder than the event. Mission 24, I think, was harder on the body.
Sure.
I think Ironman was harder on the mind, just because, like, you had to do everything alone, and the training was just a lot of long trainings and things like that. And then, we hit some good stride there towards the end where I started feeling pretty good. But there was about a 6 to 8 week stretch where I wasn't even able to dial in my nutrition the way I wanted to. I was still experimenting 2 weeks out, and that's not where you want to be. I fucked up my training a little bit. And that's on me, and that's on the fact that I have a messed up schedule. And to train for an 8-hour event when you have a hectic schedule like I did, and you're trying to piece it together here and there, it was kind of difficult. But the main thing I want to talk about Ironman, and I had an entire podcast series, so I'm not going to get that deep into it, but to have as many people there supporting, it's still just, it's just mind-boggling to me, because it's like, this started with a fucking small conversation. It's just like, I put out there that I was considering doing something, and that's what it turned into. And despite what some people may believe, I never actually recruited a single fucking person to do it.
Right.
So for it to turn out the way it did, for as many people come down camping and do all that, none of them were really, well, you were invited because I'm like, man, I need my Sierra juices and whatnot. And I need somebody to make my cocktails for me after the event. Which ended up, I didn't even get to drink most of it because Debbie had herself some fun. But it's just, that is the most powerful thing as a business owner. And what was cool is, again, the people that went with me were shocked that they woke up and they had oatmeal bowls that you had pre-made and all this stuff, and they're like, the weird thing is, like, Lex, it was her first big event with us, and she's like, this isn't fucking normal. And Kyle's like, no, this is normal for Jay.
Yeah.
Like, this is his thing. Like, most people don't wake up at 3:30 in the morning for an Ironman and have pre-made CR juices. And they're sitting there eating it with their light on their phone, and she's like, "This isn't normal." And I was like, "Nope, pretty much this is about the 5th time I've seen this, and this is exactly how Jay starts his day, you know." And we just went about our thing, and it was very cool to see it kind of come.
Well, to be honest with you, I just feel like it's our way of giving back for really all the support and everything that you guys. And not just you and Debbie, but just your gym as a whole has really taken CR Juices, you know, to a whole new level, I believe. And just the support that you guys give us on a day-to-day basis. I mean, there's never a day that goes by that I don't see. I may not be down here at the gym every day, but we have gym over there at CR Juices because, you know, Saturdays I used to call it my 10 a.m. JG3 rush because we would always get that rush, and so we appreciate it as a business and just how much you guys have supported us in helping build us.
Have you ever had a day in business where a JG3 member hasn't been there?
No, that's why I said every day.
Every day.
There's a
You're not
JG3 member.
Yeah,
every day there's a JG3 member.
That's awesome.
It's you know, you guys are always there, you know.
And we're not the type of people that will keep supporting if we think the shit doesn't work.
Right.
Like, I'm not afraid. I've changed my opinion on shit. Like I said, I'm not always right.
Yeah. And you don't eat everything off the menu either. So
no, I talk shit about I talk shit about a few items on the menu. I'm not a big fan. I do not think peanut butter is all the shit that they make it out to. I think your chocolate bowl's over. Like, there are things that you know, people sometimes think that I just say everything that you tell. No, if you've been in the juice bar and people order something I don't like, I'm like, ew, that's a bad fucking idea there. You know, but I also constantly am experimenting because my new favorite thing on the menu is something, you know, I'm sure you were like, I'm not like Serena looked at me when I ordered it the first time. She's like, I'm not sure you're gonna like this, and I'm like, let's try it out. But really, you know, part of it's just, like I said, being willing to try stuff and go, it either works or it doesn't, and not having a real emotional attachment to it. Like, yes, I want it to work. You're a very good friend of mine, and I'm happy that you guys are doing well. But at the same time, if it doesn't taste good or doesn't work, you don't see me eating it.
Right.
I really, even though I enjoyed them early on, when's the last time you saw me drink a juice that you didn't make me drink? I generally. Well,
Ironman, when I just made you the Limity Lights, and that was, I mean, it's only been for the special events.
Or someone brings it down for a podcast. Right. I mean, it's not even that I don't like the taste of them. It's just I found things that are more beneficial to me on your menu. So I sit there and I'm like, okay. But again, the nutritional needs of a 190-pound man versus other people are a lot different. And I tried to really maintain. I feel my most comfortable around 190 pounds. Like, I'm not saying I look the best. I feel the best. And that's something that, that's something that me and Tyler just had a conversation. We were doing some accessory work after the workout, and it was funny because we were like, okay, there was a time about 6 months ago, it was like, you know, Tyler would be like, I gotta have big biceps. Now it's like, let's do what's fun and whatever feels the best. You know, you don't have to get caught up in everything. No Stella coming back up here to she smells tacos. There's a few people.
You don't smell tacos from me.
Oh shit. Well, is there anything you want to plug? We're right at an hour right now. We could get into another story, but I feel like we would go another 20, 30 minutes. So is there, obviously you want to plug CR Juices, but is there any, you just launched a new menu, or?
It's well, like you said, it's all trial and error, and going on 2 years of business now, we've had to do a lot of tweaking to our menu, find out what works, which is what doesn't work. So we finally just launched. It's not a brand, obviously it's got some keepers on there, but just anew with these Buddha bowls and things that we're doing.
What's a Buddha bowl?
Well, a Buddha bowl, it gets its name just from
It's a big
everything
bowl.
being compiled like a belly. But it's just compiled of.
Is that what the micro green thing that I
yes,
get is considered?
yeah,
Okay.
it's part of the
Sorry.
beautiful
Yeah.
line. Yeah, but just giving you a little bit different nutrition as far as healthy fats.
And then you add the soups and stuff like that. That's
We
not
put
been too long ago.
soups. Yeah, we just did that for the seasonal sides of things, but I think we're finally now just dialed into our staples and what we're gonna keep. So now the menu will just be changed for seasonal items, but everything else is staying. But
Is your most popular, are your most popular items still juices, or is it?
they
is it a
are.
mixture?
So
Because you got your grab and go, which is something I think for those of you that have never been to see our juices, that's a good introduction. You walk in and a lot of people have not been to a health bar like that, and to walk in and see this plethora of stuff right in front of you ready to go, you're like, what the fuck is up? You know, that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Like that is a good oatmeal bowls, even though I don't like them, the chia pudding or whatever you call them. But all your immunity shots and your juices right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you add your salads and stuff up there, but that's always my recommendation when people are like, hey, what should I try at CR Juices? I'm like, just go grab something off the grab and go.
Yeah. Juices are still, we're known for our juices. That's just something, we're known for our bottled juices. I was just had this conversation the other day because we're looking at getting the labeling and stuff all designed for.
You're known for running out of lids and straws.
Yeah, like right now we're out of bottles. You know, it's just part of being a business owner, I guess, and not being able to keep up with inventory. But I mean, yeah, we're plugging away at about 300 to 400 bottles of juices in a week. So
holy shit.
That's where we're at with things.
So maybe you should talk to the owner and have them order like 400 to 500 bottles a week, and you'll be all right.
Well, if I had a bigger building, that might be possible to house all those. But I need to get another shed out back. But yeah, just the growth that we've had tremendously from moving, obviously from running a commercial kitchen to one of the gym members here buying a building for us so that way we can lease and expand our business. So again, that's just goes back to how much JG3 has helped build and believe in CR Juices and why it's important for us to give back to JG3 anytime we can.
Cool. I did this with Trey. I think I'm gonna do it a little different with you. With Trey, I said give a recommendation of a book or something like that that you should throw out there that everybody should read, because Trey was also a business owner, you're a business owner. I'm gonna go a little different route with you. If you sit there and you close your eyes and in 5 years you wake up, where do you see CR Juices at that? Like, are you still plugging away with the same?
We'll be a franchise by then.
You'll be a franchise. What? So you're gonna expand into
We've
different
already,
locations?
we've already had a lot of people, want us in different cities, oh, we don't have something like this here. Lots of communities have juice bars, but nothing like with food and other things that we do. So yeah, we get a lot of requests to come to different cities, but that's what eventually we want to do. I say give it one more year and we'll have our first franchise on the map.
That's cool. I think that would be a very cool thing, especially for someone that travels around as much as I do.
That's right.
Getting a spot in Bowling Green, let's say, or somewhere where I'm driving. If only it was easy to eat some of that shit while you were driving. That's where I start having to do.
Drinking a juice out of a straw is very easy while you're driving.
I do, and you have noticed I do smoothies when I'm really busy because I grab.
Yes, you do.
That's typically when I do a smoothie.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just, I feel like there's more calories in a smoothie.
Do you ever eat a burger while you're driving?
I fuck ton of burgers.
Okay, then I'm sure you could eat a wrap while you're driving.
I'm sure I could. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. The person that makes my wraps makes them really fucking big and they fall the fuck apart.
So they're like burritos?
Yes. So I'm like trying to shove a Chipotle style thing in my mouth, and I'm not Kyle Tester. I can't swallow it whole.
Oh
So,
no.
Love you, Kyle. Anyway, you got anything else you want to say before we wrap this up with a nice little bow?
No.
No?
Come visit us at CR Juices.
Follow her on
But,
social media.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram.
Is it at CR Juices or is it at like CR_Juice? I don't know.
No, it's just at CR
At CR
Juices.
Juices.
Yeah, website, crjuices.com.
You can online order there.
You can
They
online
deliver.
order. We deliver
There
Monday
you
through
go.
Friday, 10 to 2.
See? Now you're
Yeah.
gonna plug. See? You're doing a podcast, you gotta plug your shit. Anyway.
I guess I don't listen to enough podcasts.
Oh.
But I'll have to start.
Yeah, just gonna have to start listening
Yeah.
instead of fucking streaming a bunch of dumb shit on Alexa. You
Mm-hmm.
can start listening to podcasts. Anyway, make sure you follow at JG3 Fitness on social media. We got a lot of exciting announcements we're working on. Come check us out at 401 South Front Street. First class is always free, and this has been the JG3 podcast, where I can't doesn't exist. Boom. There we go.
Nice.
Oh, my legs.
Oh.